To understand and learn more easily the English language, it is necessary to learn the similarities and differences that English has with your mother language. In this video, the idea is to find some similarities between English and Spanish in relation to words, phrases, sentences, and clauses. Let's start with words. The first similarity that we can find in both languages is that some words in English that finish in or are very often identical in Spanish. For example, tutor, error, color, actor, favor, animal, capital, hospital, metal, and moral. The second similarity is that both languages share the same noun classification: proper, common, abstract, concrete, countable, uncountable, individual, collective, and propios, comunes, abstractos, concretos, contables, no contables, individuales y colectivos. The first difference between English and Spanish words is that in English, words don't have gender, on the contrary to Spanish, where some words are masculine or feminine. For example, in English we have cat, nurse, teacher, book, table. In Spanish we have gato, gata, enfermero, enfermera, profesor, profesora, el libro, la mesa. The second difference is that in Spanish, some words have stress, which is symbolized with a diacritical mark over the vowel, on the contrary to English, that the stress is marked in a syllable and don't have any symbol over the vowel. One similarity between English and Spanish phrases is that in both languages a phrase is a group of words that can create meaning about a principal or head word. The first difference between English and Spanish phrases is that in English has 10 ways to classify a phrase, on the contrary to Spanish that only has 5 classifications. In English we have verb phrase, prepositional phrase, participial phrase, infinitive phrase, gerund phrase, absolute phrase, noun phrase, appositive phrase, adverbial phrase, adjectival phrase. And in Spanish we have frases nominales, frases adjetivas, frases preposicionales, frases verbales y frases adverbiales. The second difference is the way to place the adjective in a phrase. In English, the adjective must be before the noun, on contrary to Spanish, where the adjective could be before or after the word. The first difference that we find between English and Spanish sentences is the way to classify the sentence by structure. In English, we find simple, complex, compound, and complex compound sentences. In Spanish, we only find simple and complex sentences, as a similarity of English, but Spanish has 2 more classifications of sentences that are not in English. These are unimembre and bimembre sentences. The second difference that we find in English and Spanish sentences is that in Spanish the subject is not necessary and this could be implicit in the sentence, on the contrary to English, where the subject is necessary in the sentence. One similarity that we have between English and Spanish clauses is that Spanish and English clauses are divided in 2 types. Both languages have dependent and independent clauses. These are the dependent clauses, adverbial clauses, adjectival clauses, and nominal clauses. And in Spanish are cláusulas adjetivas, cláusulas adverbiales, cláusulas sustantivas. In English, an independent clause can stand alone as a sentence. Here is an example. We walk to school. This sentence expresses a complete thought and can stand alone. For another example, the turkey was hot and juicy. This meaning is the same in Spanish, and the example is María fue a la biblioteca. One difference is that in Spanish, the dependent clauses have other type of clauses depending on the information that they inform. These clauses are cláusula relativa restrictiva and cláusula relativa explicitiva.